So today's film is based on a true story. The year is 1998, and we are shown Indonesia, where the people there began massive protests against the government. Initially, people simply wanted to get their point across, but the situation quickly deteriorated, turning into a bloody riot. Under the guise of these protests, many evils also emerged. Looting, murder, and abuse of girls became commonplace, and the strangest thing is that people began disappearing. Numerous cases were filed regarding these atrocities, but to this day, they remain unresolved and have become a black mark on history. Our story begins in this very environment, and we are introduced to two teachers, Janwar and Rahim. They used to post news reports about the city on the school's notice board. Tonight, they were sitting and reading news from the newspaper when suddenly their door automatically opened. An invisible entity suddenly appears and attacks them. They are unable to do anything for themselves, and the entity kills them both. And so horribly, their bodies are unseen. One of them had his throat completely severed, making it terrifying to watch. The scene shifts to Anissa, a young woman who was in the hostel at night. She hears strange noises and a knock on the door. She goes to check and sees a strange entry outside the door. The sight of this frightens Anissa so much that she immediately closes the door, shaking with fear. Her friend Neural approaches her and asks what happened. However, Anissa, too frightened, refuses to tell her anything, and they go back to sleep. The next day, while they're on their way to school, Neural asks Anissa, "Tell me, what did you see last night?" Anissa tells the truth, saying, "I saw a demon last night." They were unaware that two boys, Citrio and Ali, had overheard their conversation. The atmosphere at school was also a bit strange. Citrio and Ali notice that a different teacher is posting news on the notice board. They even ask Teacher Bug where the previous teacher is, but he leaves without answering, knowing that the previous two teachers have been killed and that they can't share this news with the children as it would spread panic. When the situation worsens, Teacher Bug makes an announcement at school, urging all students to leave and go to their dormitories, as the situation outside is worsening. Meanwhile, Ali and the women, who were smoking cigarettes outside the classroom, see all the students heading towards their dormitories and realize something is definitely wrong at school, as this has never happened before. At this moment, his thoughts flash back to Anissa. He tells his friend that perhaps Anissa is right. Perhaps the demon has arrived at school, but the women are not entirely convinced. He decides to go and talk to Anissa himself and ask her what she saw. They both approach her, and without further questioning, the women simply ask her, "Did you see the demon?" Alissa nods. During their conversation, Teacher Ridwan arrives. He smells cigarettes on the boys, changes the topic, and the teacher sends them all back to their dormitories. Stu knew something was definitely wrong, but he couldn't figure out what. He asks, "Have you noticed that Teacher Rahim and Teacher Yanv haven't been seen in school since morning?" Ali tells him not to overthink it. Maybe they've gone home. On the other side, we're shown Anissa's room where the window opens automatically. She closes it and goes to sleep, but she's still terrified. Perhaps that's why she sees the decapitated entity in her dreams again that night. Terrified, she flees and escapes from the room. While running, she reaches a well. She hides there and hears a man's footsteps in the distance. She looks from the well. There, a man is submerging some packets underground. She realizes this must be related to black magic. On the other side, we're shown a teacher. When he goes into his friend's room to see their bodies, he breaks down in tears. He never imagined he would lose them in such a way. On one side, he's busy performing a ritual. Another man is busy performing black magic. He cuts a lizard with his mouth and pours its blood into a vessel. Then, he creates small figures in place of the two dead teachers' bodies and performs a ritual that brings them to life. Seeing this, his friend is terrified and closes his eyes in fear. The corpses whisper to him, "It's all over now." Upon hearing this, Samir opens his eyes to find the bodies have vanished. In reality, the black magician has transformed them into Pachangs, meaning he has summoned the evil entity within them through his magic, because of which these bodies are now being murdered openly here. Samir understood this and wanted to leave immediately. But suddenly the door closes, and then the two Pachangs vomit blood on him, the blood so hot that it burns his entire mouth. At this moment, Satru and Anissa hear Samir's screams, and when they rush to his rescue, they see that Samir has become completely motionless. They cannot understand what has happened to him. Then they take him to his quarters. There, Anissa tells everyone that she believes this is all the result of black magic. But no one believes her. And then, when things get worse, they call in a very respected master. When he arrives and learns that the bodies of two teachers are missing, he becomes even more angry with the rest of the staff, saying they should have been buried on time. Ridwan then tells him that the police were so busy that they neglected their funeral. So, Ustad Sahib calls everyone for prayer, and during the prayer, a boy sees a Pachang, which he momentarily thinks is a hallucination. But the next moment, a bigger problem arises. The teacher who was leading the prayers disappears. It's clear that the situation is worse than they thought. The junior teachers decide to have all the students sleep in the same hall so they can at least protect each other. What was going on, and what was the reason behind it? To find out, Satyu goes to the head office at night with his friend Ali. There, he learns from the newspapers that there were massive protests and massacres in the city, and that all this information was kept hidden from them. Before they could learn anything further, a teacher arrives, and the two hide in fear. Meanwhile, we are shown a scene in the hall. Anissa suddenly wakes up. She sees no one in the hall, and her friend Neural is behaving strangely. Anissa approaches Neural and finds that she has been possessed. The possessed Neural whispers in her ear, "It's all over." With this, she lunges at Anissa, about to kill her. But Anissa suddenly opens her eyes, revealing that it was just a nightmare. Neural is also fine, and everyone is around her. In the morning, when Anissa goes to the bathroom, the same headless entity that had been scaring her repeatedly whispers in her ear about a cottage and tells her to go there. Anissa, confused as to what the entity is in that cottage that keeps insisting on going there, approaches the cottage and begins to peek inside. Meanwhile, Ali and the women also go to teacher Samir's room and find him still unconscious. Seeing Stun says, "I think he's under some kind of debt, a curse." Ali replies, "I think he's just sick." Suddenly, during their conversation, Samir's body levitates, and Ali flees in fear, confirming that there was indeed some kind of debt inside Sir Samir's body. Meanwhile, Anissa, near the well, notices a packet lying there, which she picks up. Then she saw her teacher, Bagus, busy burying something in the ground in the distance, and Anissa suspected that Bagus was behind the whole ordeal. Neural arrives, and Anissa reveals everything to him, revealing the truth. Teacher Bagus is practicing magic here. She also shows him the packet she picked up near the well. Terrified, Anissa snatches the packet from his hand and throws it away, urging him to leave. On the way, Neural suddenly experiences pain in his eyes, and blood starts gushing from them. He writhes in agony, and Anissa becomes distraught at the sight. She wanted to call someone, but she couldn't leave him there. Neural, floundering in pain, suddenly comes to the well and jumps into it. It was a blessing. Anissa was nearby. She grabbed Neural with both hands and tried to save him. However, it appeared that an entity inside the well was pulling him down, and because of that, Anissa couldn't save him, and Neural died. Following Neural's death, a conflict erupts between the principal and Ustad Bagus, who insists the students be sent home so they can be safe. However, Ridwan believes they can stay here. For the safety of all the students, they decide to pray again and gather in a room. However, as they pray together, numerous evil entities attack them, and one after another, several students are possessed. Meanwhile, we see the women and Ali. The women are trying to leave. When they go to Professor Samir's room, they try to pick up their belongings and find Samir eating glass. Seeing his condition, they are frightened, but the women remain unmoved. He takes the keys and leaves, and Anissa sees him leaving and tries to stop him. She explains to him that if he leaves, he will be killed, but he cares for his family. Therefore, at Ali and Anissa's insistence, he doesn't stop and leaves. Upon leaving, he sees that people are now openly roaming around with weapons in their hands. They would have killed him, but he hides among the corpses lying on the ground, pretending to be dead, saving his life. Meanwhile, we are shown the women's house, where someone knocks on the door. When her father opens the door, someone suddenly attacks him, kills him, and hangs his dead body in his own house. Meanwhile, we are shown Anissa sitting sadly, lost in her past. It is revealed that when she was very young, her mother was pregnant again. They were very poor, so much so that they often had nothing to eat. Her father, fed up with poverty, found a strange way out. A path Anissa's mother was unwilling to undertake. Anissa's father wanted to take the child Anissa was carrying from her mother, but instead of sacrificing her own child, her mother offered herself as an offering, slitting her throat and taking her own life instantly. Meanwhile, the next morning, when Suri regains consciousness along with the other corpses, he discovers that he had been taken to a hospital along with the other corpses. He was unconscious at the time. Upon regaining consciousness, he immediately ran back to his home. Upon reaching home, his mother embraced him, and when he asked about his father, she took him to another room. Surrey broke down. His father was dead. Surrey decided to perform his father's funeral. However, his mother refused, as there were many evil sorcerers outside who were turning the corpses into bachung. That is, they were summoning evil entities from within dead bodies and bringing them back to life. But they couldn't keep the corpse outside. Therefore, Strio decides to bury his father in the backyard of their house, a decision his mother agrees to. Strio, who has come to know the situation in the entire city, tells his mother, "I know these people are killing good magicians, but my father wasn't a magician." His mother replies, "Your father had special powers that allowed him to sense evil entities, and if people were possessed by evil entities, he would even help them." Strio learned about this today, and he was deeply saddened for his father. After his father's funeral, Strio's mother sends Strio back to school, as it was the safest place. He even takes his mother away from there. He wanted to go, but his mother refused, saying who would take care of the house. Meanwhile, at school, Anissa is cooking when she suddenly sees the same severed head in a pot she keeps seeing. She closes the pot again and looks up to see a nurse, who was in a pose, slit her throat right in front of her. Anissa couldn't bear to see this. Blood splattered on Anissa's face. Anissa, terrified, searches for the teachers, but finds none. She searches everywhere for the teacher, but finally finds her behind a curtain. She too is in a pose, making strange movements and biting her fingernails. Frightened, Anissa tries to escape, but the door closes automatically. The teacher pounces on her, ready to hit her. But Anissa starts to plead. Fed up, the teacher stabbed himself in the head with the cutter and died. After this, while Anissa was sitting alone, the decapitated entity again approached her and asked her to check a cottage. Upon hearing this, the teacher went to Bagus, who told her the entire story about the entity and asked her to check it. Bagus said, "I can't do that because it's illegal." The matter reached Principal Ridwin, but he too refused to open the cottage. During their conversation, the women arrived. He joined Anissa and urged them to open the cottage. Together, they broke down the door and found black magic items inside. It was Bagus's cottage. All suspicion fell on Bagus, but Bagus claimed he was working for the school's protection. However, no one believed him, and the children captured and tied him up. Now, everything was in the children's hands. It was decided to check the principal's cottage as well. They were heading there when another spirit with a severed head appeared in front of a child. It entered the girl's body and pulled out all her intestines, killing her. Seeing this, they realized that the person practicing black magic wasn't Bogus, but someone else who was still practicing it. Ali and his friend took the girl to Bogus. Meanwhile, the women and Anissa were outside a cottage. The door was locked. The women broke it open, and he went inside. However, as soon as the women went inside, the door closed automatically. Anissa remained outside. She tried desperately to open it, but it wouldn't open. Then, Ajnasa saw the same spirit with the severed head outside Ridwin's cottage, and Anissa realized that this spirit was guiding her, but it wasn't evil. From outside Ridwin's cottage, she began peeking inside. Inside, it appears that someone is practicing black magic. she quickly goes to inform the others. But the power of the black magic pulls her back into the cottage, and the door closes once again. Meanwhile, the children had freed Bagus so he could heal Fatty, who was still alive. Before Bagus could do anything, the lights go out, and at this point, the movie's biggest twist unfolds.